Meteorologist Topper Shutt here. We're going to talk about the winter weather on Saturday. It's not a pure snow. Wish it were. It'd be a heck of an easier forecast. We're looking at snow, sleet, and freezing rain, and there will be some accumulation with the freezing rain. The best scenario would be more sleet than freezing rain because sleet doesn't accrete on limbs or power lines or anything like that. It's slippery, yes, but it won't bring down trees. So let's get right to it, and we'll talk about how much snow, and we'll sort of get more specific too, city by city. Here's the wide view, and the Euro and the GFS, the American model, pretty much on the same page now. I will say they are pretty close. And here's the deal. I actually agree with the American model a little more west of the divide. I think there'll be a lot of snow, upslope snow. Remember, this goes through the 23rd on Sunday after the storm goes by. But in our area, what we see around us is essentially Saturday morning. After that, no snow. So it is showing, both models showing a little bit of snow, 1 to 3 inches north of I-70, and then a trace to an inch around the metro. And I kind of agree with that. It does seem this scenario will, you folks in Loudoun County will lose the cold air aloft, so you're going to have less snow. You'll have as much ice as anybody, I think, but that's the way it looks now. So if we were to say, okay, here's DC snowfall next 2 days, all the models. We got 0.2 to an inch. The NAM, North American model, is the most aggressive. And the GFS is pretty close, 0.8 of an inch. But the Euro's not too far off, 0.6 of an inch. Now, let's change it up. Let's say Frederick. Now we've got 2 inches of the RPM, 1.5 for the NAM. So the RPM model just updated. And the European model about an inch. So that's Frederick, Maryland. Let's go to Leesburg, Virginia. Now the NAM's got an inch. The RPM is 1.4 inches. And the European has about an inch too. So that is a little more than the model. Well, the bands were nothing to an inch, so that covers pretty much all of that range. That's Leesburg. Okay, so here's the NAM, North American model, snowfall, 6 a.m., nothing really unless you're west of I-81. But then as you get into the 12 o'clock hour, noon, perhaps 0.9 in D.C. I think that's a little overdone. What I do like about this is it takes the snow into northern and central Charles County, but no further, and that, I agree with that. You might have a burst, you might see some flakes, but your roads aren't going to be a problem in southern Maryland. That's noon, and then it doesn't really change. No more snow is going to fall after noon because it's going to be sleet and freezing rain. It will be, you might have seen that pop up to the west out toward Oakland and Davis, but that's Sunday snow for them. Now, GFS, snowfall potential, pretty similar. I mean, 0.8 instead of 0.9, a little less in Gaithersburg, about the same in Frederick, and maybe a hair less in Hagerstown and Martinsburg. But they're coming together, what we call confluence. And as we get closer, we're within 48 hours, which is essentially within the short-term forecast. They're going to probably even get closer tomorrow. I am going to get your questions here. Hang on. So that's the snowfall. Now, when temps climb above freezing, and this is a tricky one, but I've been here a long time, and the models always erode the cold air too quickly. And I think that's probably the case again this time. So here's what our thinking is. 5 p.m. DCA, 10 p.m. That actually doesn't. That graphic is actually wrong. Let me change that while I see that. 10 p.m. on 10 p.m. Winchester, not till midnight in Leesburg, and 3 a.m. for Frederick. I think what we meant to do is put the 5 p.m. bar above the 4 p.m. I don't think we did that, so just move him up a little bit. Okay, let's move him up a little bit. Boom, pow. And that should take care of that. I did not see that. Everything else looks fine. Okay, good. So that's what we're thinking for the timing of the temperatures. Now, let's go back and do the ice. So here's the ice. And It's not significant east of 95. A little bit of a glaze, D.C., west, but then you get up into, Gaithersburg and Frederick and Hagerstown. A quarter inch is pretty significant. And so that's something that we're going to watch. I don't think it's going to be a full-fledged ice storm, but there's going to be a lot of ice up there. Belinda can hardly hear me. I don't know what the problem is. I turn the mic on the same way every night. What about Luray? A little bit of ice in Luray, maybe a dusting of snow, maybe a tenth of an inch of ice. Southern Maryland, Cobb Island, you are fine. I don't see any snow down there, sorry. Wish I did, but I don't. I may have missed some questions. Fairfax, again, a glazing of ice and maybe a dusting of snow. I'll tell you what, let me show you, let me go through the headlines here. So these are the things to know on Saturday. The storm lacks moisture and we lose the cold air at the same time. So Saturday, 5 a.m. to noon, light snow north. Untreated slick spots, D.C. north and west. Saturday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m., rain south and east, but a mix north and west, and still slick spots on untreated roads. What does that mean? Well, here's kind of what it means to you. So over and over we see this. Be careful walking. Driveways and sidewalks will be icy, and a lot of times folks will get up Saturday morning and go, it's just wet. It'll be ice. This is different than our last winter event because we have the cold air in place, so the road temperatures will be colder, snow will stick faster, freezing rain will freeze easier, so that's why I'm concerned about that. Allow extra time to scrape your car if you're trying to go somewhere Saturday. If you're north and west of town, I'd recommend you don't. But in any event, cover your windshield. That'll save you time on Sunday going to church, which could be a small problem too, north and west of town. I would expect some flight delays and some activities will be canceled on Saturday. Charles County, Vernice, I'm not worried about anything. Augusta, I can't hear you. I'm sorry. Can everybody else hear me okay? Alexandria, don't see much of a problem in Old Town. I see just maybe a slight glazing in Old Town, but that's it. And maybe a dusting of snow early on. Hey, Kelly, Hardy County. Hardy County, yeah, you're going to get some, I'd say 1 to 2 tenths of ice and maybe an inch of snow. So you're going to stay cold all day up there. So it's going to be slick all day. The bottom line here is to get errands done Friday. Friday night, date night's fine. Don't have to cancel that. That's not a problem. So again, here is our snow map for snow for DC and all the models. Tops is an inch, and here's Frederick. Okay, up to 2 inches. That's the highest on that one. Earlier in the week, it looked like it was coming in quicker, so we had more cold air. It would have been more snow, but because it's coming in later and the cold air is leaving town, that's why we have less snow. And it's also not as robust in terms of moisture. I mean, this thing is going so far to the north and west of us in the Great Lakes. It just doesn't have much moisture. It would have been a very easy storm to produce a good snow if it just stayed south and east of us. I mean, not a problem at all. It would have been a much easier forecast too. I think I showed you this yesterday, but it's worth repeating. There's a Culpeper. I don't see any real problems with Culpeper, Neva. So the cold air is in place. It kind of sinks down the mountains, and cold air is denser. So we get warm air riding over the cold air, and there's the storm in Missouri. But that storm's going to go in the Great Lakes. It's not going to be, it's got to go into Tennessee Valley off the Carolina coast to give us all snow. But because it's going so far north, it's going to erode the cold air at the surface. I mean, at a loft. At the surface, it stays here. We get the moisture going over, and this is called the wedge, called cold air damming. And it might be freezing from the surface to maybe 800 feet or 1,000 feet. And you go up 5,000 feet, it might be 38 degrees, which is not usual for the atmosphere. Usually the higher you go, the colder it gets. But this is different with the cold air damming. You have warmer, moist air overrunning this cold air at the surface, spits out snow until it erodes that cold air aloft. Then it spits out freezing rain or sleet. But meanwhile, down here on Earth, we remain around freezing. Johnny, Old Town, just a glaze. Glendale and Baltimore have to go to work. Rose, it's got a little more snow up there. I mean, if you if you stay on main roads, you're fine. I mean, they're brining the roads everywhere. So if you stay on main roads, I think you're going to be okay. Charles County, Vernice, don't see any problems. Augusta can't hear you. Getting snow in Kaiser, West Virginia, just sticking to grassy areas for now. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. That's kind of cool. Let's see, let's zoom in here. Yep, you got some streamers coming down here in this northwest flow. They're kind of drying up as they get into town, but I see that. Yep. Very cool. This will dry up, and we'll go clear eventually tonight. Rollo, Fairfax, I think a little tiny bit of snow and a little tiny bit of ice. You know, again, we're not talking about an full-fledged ice storm or anything. I just think that we're looking at, you know, a glazing and then just slick conditions. So here are the headlines again. Hey, Allison, how you doing? Belinda can hardly hear me. Belinda, I can't explain it. I have it as loud as I can without distorting myself. I will talk to our tech folks about that. Luray, Shauna, we talked about that. Just a glaze, less than an inch of snow, less than a tenth of an inch of freezing rain, but slippery in the morning. Okay. Let's go on here. All right. Ice in Hagerstown, Lisa. Probably snow to ice around noon. Arlington, we're just talking about a light glazing of ice. Just be careful walking. Not a lot of rain for Huntingtown. No, Donna. No, it's not a big system. You'll be okay. The roads will be wet. Dropping from Frederick to Leesburg around 7 p.m. Saturday. Icy roads. Yes, I think you'll see icy roads, especially out there. How are you going to get there? You're going to go the Point of Rocks. How are you going to get there? But yeah, I would think there'd be icy roads. Dulles Airport traveling out Saturday at 12:45. I mean, Julia, I think it'll be delayed. I mean, they could theoretically they could do it, but I bet they have delays. If you could get on an earlier flight, if you could get a flight like at 7 o'clock on Saturday, Julia, I would do that. Call Pepper Steve, no problems. Again, the storm lacks moisture. We're not talking about a lot of moisture here. We lose the cold air. Saturday, 5 a.m. to noon, light snow north. Untreated slick spots, D.C. north and west. And then Saturday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m., rain south and east, mixed though, north and west, and still some slick spots, untreated roads, north and west. So really, we're mainly concerned about folks walking. Driveways and sideways could be icy. Cumberland, about the same time, maybe noon, 11 a.m. It doesn't snow long in Cumberland. It could be a pretty good burst, though, Lori. You could get a 1 to 2 inch burst pretty quickly. Inwood, about the same. Melanie? George, happy in Southern Maryland. Okay, you're good. Jackie hears me in Ashton. Good. I grew up at 2 seconds from Ashton. Ashton, you'll probably get maybe an inch of snow, a little bit of ice. Clark County, Bluemont, yeah, a little bit of snow and ice. Again, I think you guys, we go back to this graphic. The timing of the timing, I think, is critical, and I just don't think you folks out in like Bluemont area will get above freezing until midnight. So untreated roads are going to be tough. Dickie, you're still saying it's hard to hear me. I don't know what to tell you about that. Sounds good for Tina, so that's good. California, Maryland, you're fine. Again, Inwood, Alice, you've got some snow and some ice coming your way. Hillary can hear me fine. Good. Hillary says if you can't hear me, go back and come back in. And make sure you're not connected to a Bluetooth device. Wow. That says you don't have on you. Okay. Nice job, Hillary. Thanks. Okay, I can hear. Okay. Baltimore, Dorothy, a little tricky in Baltimore. A little more snow, inch or two, and a little more ice. So slick. I mean, I imagine 95 and 695 will be okay if it's treated, but I would take it easy getting to there and whatever your exit might be getting off of the Baltimore Beltway. I plow BWI. Don, I don't think it's plowable. Darn it. I was hoping to be plowable too. Monday it looked plowable, and then it didn't after that. So I don't think so. Aliki, Fairfax, again, a brief period of snow, and then ice. We'll show. This is the most aggressive snow model here, and it sort of has Fairfax in the nothing to maybe an inch, which I kind of agree with. Hey, Laura Payne, how are you? Good to hear from you. See, Pam says, be careful on ice. She broke her leg in 2009. Yeah, it's your driveways will be your most treacherous part of your journey on Saturday. Winchester, more snow than ice? I don't think so, Tina. I think everybody gets more ice than snow. Hi from King George. Hi, Susie. You just got rain coming. Let's see. Frederick, Maryland. Yes, Frederick, Maryland will see a lot of ice. Could see 1 to 2 inches of snow and then ice on top. The only thing that I really can't tell you right now, and the models aren't doing a really good job. Well, the models are doing a good job on a lot of things, but I can't. There's some discrepancy as to how much freezing rain falls and how much sleet falls. And that's huge because, again, sleet just bounces and doesn't collect on power lines or trees. It's still slippery, yes, but it's lesser of the two evils when you're talking about sleet or freezing rain. You welcome, Rose. Charlene, I'm sure it's nice in California. Don't know where that is, though. Cumberland, so yes, a couple inches of snow, a little bit of ice. Not a very pretty day. Stay off the roads if you can. Saturday evening in Round Hill, Virginia. Rose, I mean, those hills, those roads are tough out there. I think it's going to be slippery until midnight. I would take it easy. Hey, hey Ben from Hanover, PA. A little more snow up there, 2-3 inches, then some ice. Wind Katrina will die down tonight, no worries. We had a wind gust of 40 at National today and 50 at Dulles. Stafford, Tonya, I don't see any problems in Stafford. You could see a little bit of snow briefly, but if you have plans, you can do some stuff. Yeah, Laura, remember the ice storm in 99 well? Fairfax, we mentioned that a little bit. Maybe a dusting of snow and just a glazing of ice. Fredericksburg, don't see any problems in Fredericksburg at all. Work in Greenbelt Saturday. Well, Kim, if you're out there early on Saturday, Greenbelt could be a little slippery for a while, but I think after 1, 2 o'clock, you'll be above freezing. Matthew, where are you again? I don't remember where you are. That sounds about right, but I can't remember quite where you are. Silver Spring, maybe dusting to an inch and then a little bit of ice. Not a huge problem. Ben, I think you'll get 2 to 3 inches in Hanover and then some ice on top of that. Hagerstown, same deal. 1 to 2 inches and some ice. It's going to be really, really slippery in Frederick, Hagerstown, Martinsburg, Winchester, Cumberland, Romney, Kaiser. It'll be slippery all day. If you cannot, drive or go out on Saturday, I would wait. And even Sunday morning, you may have some problems up there trying to go to church. Prince William County, not much. I got Manassas coming in at 4/10, and that's kind of bullish. A little bit of ice, but not a huge problem. Rockville, maybe an inch, Debbie, and then some ice. Not a huge problem, but again, getting to your car, walking, that will be your big problem. Driveways and sidewalks. Okay, good, Tanya, nice job. Leesburg, Nate, maybe an inch, but ice all day and all night. We have Leesburg staying below freezing until midnight Sunday. Here is another model of the snowfall, pretty close. A little less in Hagerstown, a little less in Upper Montgomery County. Hagerstown, how many times have I talked about Hagerstown? Goodness gracious, folks. 1 to 2 inches and then some ice, slippery all day, slippery all night. So if you can stay in Hagerstown, I probably would. Don, you're welcome. Silver Spring, yeah, we just talked about that. Less than an inch and a little bit of ice, not an ice storm, but slippery sidewalks and on your driveway. Greenbelt, Kim, mentioned Greenbelt. Again, nothing to an inch for snow, little slippery till 2 p.m. Newark, Delaware, I don't think it'll be that bad. A little bit of snow to start and then some ice to finish. Main roads okay. Side roads will be very slippery. So, Tacoma Park, Saturday evening, probably okay. Still could be some icy patches on your driveway. That just worries me. It may look wet and it's black ice, and you could fall. The road should be fine. Destiny, any more chance of snow this year? January's been very warm. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking down the line. I don't see much more. This was kind of a disappointment, Destiny, because we had the cold air, and if the storm had taken a better track, it would have been a slam dunk. Here's the ice one more time, then I'm going to wrap up. And notice everything's essentially west of 95, 1/10, 2/10, Gaithersburg, Leesburg, Frederick. But Frederick and Hagerstown, you get up to a quarter inch. That could be significant. And in northern Frederick County, they've got up to over a quarter inch to half an inch. That would be a lot of problems. That would bring down some limbs and some small trees. You're flying home and getting into Dulles at 4:30 Saturday. You think it'll be okay to get home? Well, I think if you get into Dulles, you'll be okay. But flying to Dulles, I bet they delay it. I just bet they do. Linda, you're welcome. Will you be able to get Christina? Martinsburg to Prince Frederick, Maryland. I don't know what time you're driving. Earlier is better. Much, much better. Bowie, again, trace to an inch of snow and then a little bit of ice, but after 2 o'clock, you're fine. I'd say after 2 p.m. east of 95, you're fine. And I would say southern Maryland, you're fine the entire time. So, okay. All right, everybody. We'll have some new information at 11. Anything startling comes out, we'll talk again around 9:30. But thanks for hanging with me tonight, and we will see you, hope you'll see me at 11, and we'll probably do this again tomorrow, Friday, and tomorrow it's going to be, within short-term data tomorrow, so we can get pretty specific tomorrow. Even though this is a case where you can't lean on the models too much because, again, they erode the cold air faster than what happens, and this is pretty good cold air. I think some of the folks west of town, north of town, they're going to be in the teens tomorrow night. And that's going to be hard to scour out as we get into Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. And again, it's a case where, maybe the first 1,000 feet is below freezing, and then after that it's above freezing. Doesn't matter because now you're still getting freezing rain on the ground, and that's a problem. Again, wish it were pure snow. Alas, but it's not. All right, everybody. See you tonight at 11.